Hello class, Sebastian here. So hope you are having a good week so far. So I want to share the code of the assignment of this week. So I have here the appointment controllers. Here is where I have the responses. If something got wrong with the methods of the server and messages, everything about if any happens good or not in the methods requirements with the server. The app is JS where I have the port, the different packages for course, for the password initialization, and everything about the OAuth authorization. And here in my routes, I have the different routes with the different functions that I'm exporting from other files, like is authenticated about the OAuth functionality, the validators, if the user doesn't choose the right ID in the database or is any field in the post or put functionality that is not being added or filled. And here's the index where I have all the information about the Swagger documentation, but also the function for the login and the logout of the OAuth authorization. The Swagger with the different documentation too. Here's where I have the information about the authentication with GitHub and the MongoDB database. Here is the authenticate.js file where it's working. You don't have access if the user hasn't login with the password, the credentials that I require. And that's it. So let's go to the web page where I have um, my render application in the server. So as you can see, I have the message log out. So I'm going to log in and then log out to show you how is working the you don't have access a function. So if I go here and I execute this, I'm going to have the message that you do not have access. If I push the get method. So let's see with another one. Let's pretend that I have a user with the ID number 1 and I'm going to delete it in the database. And it is the same thing here. You don't have access. So all ones are working in that way. Let's try with this last one too. Imagine that we have a user with the ID 2 and same thing happened. You do not have access. So this one it is working because I'm not logging with the OAuth authorization. So now let's go and do that. I'm going to log in to make changes in the database. So as you can see, here is my name and it is login with the GitHub application. So let's now go to the API documentation and let's work the different HTTP methods. So if I go in and push get, I'm going to have all the information, all the registrations that I have in my database in MongoDB. So that one is working because I'm logging in the application. So now let's go and try with the get method, but in this case, I'm going to do it with a specific ID. So let's do it. I'm going to put the ID here, execute, and successfully I have the information about this medical appointment with all the information that I'm requiring. So that one is working too. So now let's do an update with one of the uh, records that I have in the database. So I'm going to update this one. So let's see, and I'm going to update this one, and uh, I'm going to change the information here. So I'm going to add information, real information about a patient, just uh, to do an example. Here we're going to add yes, and then here I'm going to put a name. Then I'm going to add here a place, and then here I'm going to add a name of the medical insurance. So now I'm going to add this, and it successfully updated the record. So if I go to the database, I'm going to see these changes. So if you see here, I have the previous record with this information test one, test one, test one, test one. But if I refresh the database, I'm going to see the record updated. That is this one. Peter Romero, 30 years old, a plant type, Santiago Lopez is the doctor, and so on. So that one is working too. And it is updating the records in the database. So now let's do an example now with delete. I'm going to delete this one that has blank fields of defined fields actually. And I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm just going to add the identification of the record. I push the execute functionality, and the appointment has been successfully deleted from the records in the database. So let's see and verify if that one is working too. So is the one here that I already delete. So let's refresh the database. And now you can see that I no longer have that record. Okay. So I'm going to show you how the validators are working. So let's pretend that I have, or I'm going to delete a record in the MongoDB database with ID number one. So that one doesn't exist, but I'm going to execute that one and see the validator for this method specifically. And now you can see that I have an error bad request that is saying that I don't have a field or a record with a number one identification. So that validator is working successfully. So now let's do another example of another validator. So I'm going to add a record that doesn't have any information here. So let me show you how it's going to be the example. So I'm going to take out this information and just leave blank spaces without any information to add in the database. So I'm going to have a validator error here that is telling me or is telling to the user that no information is adding in the record, and that is an error from the system. So let me show you how it's working. So I execute, and I see that I have a bad request here that it says you don't have a patient field required here, you don't have an age required field here, you don't have a blind type added here. So it is all the information that I avoid to add in the record creation, and that is the error bad request validator that I'm receiving here. So if I go into correct this, and I'm going to add another number. Let's see, let's say John and Rodriguez. Age, I'm going to add 26, plan type C, and no family group plan. Doctor is going to be, I don't know, Peter Romero as an example, and who's my place and compensar medical insurance. So because I have information here, I'm going to receive a successful procedure here. So let's verify. So now we have this message that it was created successfully in the database. So now let's verify, and this information was added in the database. So let's verify. I'm going to refresh the database in the MongoDB, and I have here the information without problems. So it is working good. So if I have another example, updating something, let's see that I have, let's execute this one too. So I have one record that doesn't have any information. So I'm going to update this one, and I'm going to do something similar that I did before. So I'm going to add here the record number, the ID, and I'm going to take the record information that basically are only blanks. I'm going to put it here, and I'm going to delete this thing. And let's pretend that I add the information here, plant A, family group, yes, doctor name, Santiago, sorry, Santiago, yes, medical insurance, medical center, excuse me, is going to be host 2, and the medical insurance is going to be scientist. So as you can see here that I leave this blank space in the patient name. So this is only one. And in difference with the previous one that all the spaces, all the items were blank, I just leaving just one here blank. So let's verify what's happening with this one if I receive an error message from the validator. So as you can see here, I have a bad request again, but just for one item that in this case is the patient field. That is the name of the patient. So I got to fix this. I'm going to add a name. So let's see, Ana Romero. And I'm going to correct this, and successfully it is added in the system. So let's verify if I have it here in the records. Uh, okay, here's Ana Romero, so it is good. Now see the database, let's refresh it. And I'm going to have Ana Romero 2 here. So that one is working too in that way, and the validators are working in the right way. So, well, that's it. So all the methods are working. The login and logout are working too. I don't know have access if I try to do changes in the server if I'm not logging in. And so that's it for today. So let's do a log out to just re-verify that it is working too. So now log out. Now let's try if I can do the changes or query something. As you can see, we don't have access. So everything is working very well. So thank you so much, guys. And that's it. Thank you so much.